This season and this episode brought to you by Nicholson Realty 2.0, buying or selling residential or commercial. Nicholson Realty 2.0 is the realtor for you. And me and Teddy are here. Everybody, welcome to Garage Talk. As always, I'm Conrad. Let's go.
I'm Ted. It's time to rock and roll.
Hey, Teddy. Today we have with us none other than a self-proclaimed Gas City legend. I like to proclaim that too.
He's a community champion.
Yeah.
I
like that. Community champion, Brian Swanner. How we doing, sir?
Very good, Conrad and Ted. I think you guys are community champions for what you do. I mean, I really do.
Yeah, I think we're all like-minded individuals, and we all love Gas City, Jonesboro Mill Township, especially big proponents for Mississinewa Community Schools.
We sure are.
So would you share with everyone a little bit about yourself, man?
Well, I've lived here my whole life. I went to, right down the road here, went to Eastview Wesleyan Church. Ever since I was a little kid, Mom made sure she had us in church. Dad didn't always go. But we were in there 3 times a week, and I'm still there. I'm still going there with Ted, so... Awesome. I grew up here, and the only time I was really away when I was in the Army, and then the rest of the time I've been here, and big Mississinewa fanatic, and raised my kids here, and it's been really good. I'm on the board of works and enjoying that too here.
You got a few brothers, don't you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got a large family, like siblings.
Well, I was the oldest, and then I have 4 brothers and 2 sisters. So, yeah, Mom had her hands full. I mean, Dad helped out once in a while. I better not rag on him too much.
Yeah, and one of your brothers is right down the road now.
He is. Mark went in the Navy in '77. He graduated from Mississinewa, and then he was in there for 10 years in regular duty, and then 2 years reserve. And then he's been living in Nashville for several years. Had an electric business there, and he's moving right down the road here. Mm-hmm. So, and moved Swanner Electric to here, to Gas City. So Bill Rock was happy about that.
Yep,
that's sweet.
Then you've got 3 pretty successful children yourself.
Yeah, they've done pretty well. Shelley, she's an RN, she's a nurse. Brandon's a assistant principal at Mississinewa, and Jake works out there at the Walmart Distribution Center, and coaches and. So, yeah, they've done pretty well.
Pretty.
I graduated with Shelley.
Oh, did you? Okay.
96, yeah.
Yeah, 96.
Almost 30 years ago.
Oh, man, that makes me feel old. I mean, I am
What
old.
year did you graduate?
67. Well, I graduated in 75.
Okay, in 75.
Yeah, and then well, 2 years later, then we had Shelley in 77. We had Brandon in 79, and Jake was born in 81.
Mm-hmm.
And you're a retired fireman, right?
Yes, from Marion Fire Department.
Yeah. How long did you do that?
I was on there for 28 years, so I enjoyed that career. Mm-hmm. Had a pretty good career.
Yeah.
Well, and that's like Conrad. We like to tell everybody, firemen, police officers, EMS. They're heroes, but you also served our country in the Army.
Yes.
Yeah. So thank you for your service.
You're a double hero here.
Well, I don't know if I'm a hero. My personal heroes are the Vietnam veterans. Yeah. I mean, I was lucky. I mean, I graduated in 75, and Vietnam had just ended not long before that. So I didn't, it was all peacetime, but the Vietnam veterans, they didn't really get the recognition that they should have got, and in fact some of them were even spit on, called baby killers and everything else, and that's just not the truth. A lot of my friends are the ones that are still alive were Vietnam vets, and
you guys were kids when you got sent over there. I mean,
absolutely,
it's hard to fathom how young they were.
Well, a friend of mine just passed away, Paul McQuirk. He lost his leg over there. And he said here he's 18 years old, lying in a rice paddy with it bleeding out, and a medic come up, a corpsman come up and put a tourniquet on him and saved his life. But like you said, they would be crying out for their mamas. I mean, they're just like you said, Conrad. They were just kids. We were all kids. But,
when I was 18, I still needed my ass whipped.
Well, that's what I mean. You know,
Well,
they send these kids over out of high school, you know, that they're old enough to go fight for our country, but they can't go in a bar and get a beer.
yeah, that's
I mean,
crazy.
that's, you know, I don't know.
So when you came back, what made you want to be a fireman, man? Because that's, I mean, you got to be a special kind of person to want to run into a fire.
Well, when I was 15, Dad had, this was in the summer, my summer year between my freshman and sophomore year. Dad was in the hospital having a major back surgery, and Mom was up there with him. So she said, "You're the oldest, I'm leaving you in charge." There were 7 of us. So luckily, and thank God above, my sister decided to sleep on the couch downstairs. So she screaming bloody murder, woke me up in the middle of the night. I ran down there, and the house is on, the front room where she was laying on the couch was on fire. And we'd had a bad electrical storm the night before, and I guess lightning had hit that side of the house, and it just finally took off, you know, went through the wiring. But so I got all the kids out of the house, and then I ran back in to call the fire department. The downstairs phone wouldn't work. So I ran upstairs, which I shouldn't have done that, but I was, you know, I was just a kid. Mm-hmm. So I ran up and called, and I was so nervous I couldn't think of what my address was. I said, "This is the Swanner house." They go, "The Swanners, we know where you're at. Get out of there." So I went back down the stairway, and by that time the smoke was so thick, I barely got back out. And I was feeling my way back down the stairs. I was like, "Oh Lord, please let me live," you know. Mm-hmm. And so I got back out, and then I thought, man, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to do to help others. So, but I was too young to get on the fire department, so I thought I'll go in the Army first, and then when I get out, then I'll go on the fire department. Yep. So that's what, you know, that was the motivation, Conrad. But and then I just went there.
That's a great story. I mean, something that stuck with you your whole life. Thank you for sharing that, first of all, because that could have turned out tragic.
Man, it definitely could have.
But you were quick thinking, got on the phone, and kids today will not understand how to make a phone call on a phone back then, because I'm sure it was, what, a rotary dial?
Yeah, it was, and we was on a party line, so it was tougher, but that's why I constantly quiz my grandkids and great grandkids. You know, I say, "Okay, if you forgot your pet, would you go back inside and get it?"
Right.
And one of the great grandkids said, "Oh yeah." I said, "No, you don't ever go back in.
Yeah.
Once you're out," I said, "The firefighters will get the pet for you."
Yep.
So I mean, I got them trained now, but you know, it's just constantly drilling it in their head. Yep. You know,
and they need that. I mean,
they do,
because they're not, a lot of times they're not getting it other than if it's at home. But so, I mean, you saved your family's life, you know. Then when you were on the fire department, you know, this guy went in the ice cold water before and saved a life.
Oh,
yeah, because you were on the
master diver.
Yeah, you were a special part of the fire department, correct?
Yeah, I was on all the specialty teams, the dive rescue team, hazmat team, CPR instruction team, all the different specialty teams, and because I wanted to be able to serve in every capacity that I possibly could. Mm-hmm. So, you know, I'd had about 9 months on the job, and I was just like, gung-ho, run in the fire, you know, muscle man, whatever, and I thought I was it, you know. And then one of the lieutenants, Darwin Walker, said, look, he got me to the side, he said, "Let me tell you something, Brian." He said, "You're a good firefighter, but you're not great. You're not a great firefighter." And I'm like, okay.
Isn't that tough to hear?
It was, but I thought, well, what? I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "You've got to get an education. You've got to go to school, get your fire science degree. You got to learn all this stuff. Just running in there, you know, doing everything, you know, gung-ho, masculine, you know, that type A thing, that's not what it's all about. It's knowledge. It's job knowledge." And he was right. So I went and took every class I could possibly get my hands on all over the Midwest. And it was due to him saying that to me. You know, he had to humble me, and I needed that. I needed that.
We all do sometimes.
Yeah. It wasn't all just about lifting weights and being a bodybuilder. That was just a small part of. Mm-hmm. I mean, the major part was knowledge.
Yeah.
You know, and knowing how to handle people, there's just so much you have to know. People don't realize that. Mm-hmm. you know, about so many aspects of it too. It's not just fighting fires.
Right.
So anyway, I don't mean to just
No,
go on about that.
no, no. That's why we got you here.
Yeah.
So yeah, like to me, I never even thought of that, the science of fire.
Mm-hmm.
So he got you into being a master diver.
Yeah, he did.
What, like, I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I don't like being in elevators. So
A lot of people don't.
I just don't like it.
Yeah.
Going down into, you know, some of this stuff isn't clear.
Well,
That would make me claustrophobic. How'd you get over that?
well, I mean, everybody has it, whether they admit it or not. There's a certain element of fear there.
Right.
You just have to overcome it for the greater good, because you know you're saving people by doing this and doing this training. But the worst one, like some guys, there were a few guys that freaked out on night diving because, you know, we have aluminum sticks we put on us where we can see each other, but some people dropped off the team because they figured out that they didn't like that.
Right.
But the worst one was the ice diver course, because I did it with Jerry Foss night, and there weren't there weren't dry suits at the time big enough to fit us, so we had to wear wetsuits. We had wetsuits, and man, it was so cold, it was unbelievable. I mean, I hate to say this, but I even peed in my suit to stay warm. I mean, it was not a fun course, but you had to do it, and it paid off one day. It did with a scene we had. So yeah, I'm glad I did it. But
And I'm sure you've seen some things down there that probably normal people couldn't handle.
yeah, oh man, there's some things I still, like these two kids that drowned in the Volkswagen that went down the pond. I had to end up going to a Christian counselor. I guess you would say it was PTSD, but just because I had young kids of my own, and I was having nightmares of the mother up there on the bank screaming at me to save her babies. And I dove down. I did what I was able to find it. People don't realize the visibility. You can't really see anything in Indiana lakes and streams and stuff. I mean, you can in Florida, of course, or somewhere. But so I'm just doing my routine, and Jerry lost his weight belt, so he had to surface. But my fin hit something. I thought, oh, that's got to be it. I went back and I felt, and that was it. So I surfaced and told the tow truck driver to winch me out some cable, and dove back down, put it around the bumper, and they pulled it out. But, and it was two young boys, and so we flew them out. They were successfully resuscitated, and one boy lived a week, and the other, I think, 2 weeks, but they got so much sediment in their lungs that eventually they both died. But man, that just worked. It took a toll on me.
I'm sure.
It did. I mean,
and that's something people don't realize. They think PTSD is just former military. It's emergency workers. It
is. It's for real.
And like you were talking about, you had people drop out due to night diving. It's that fear of the unknown and stuff you can't see, you can't control it.
I just couldn't imagine, Ted. How do you prepare yourself for that, like mentally?
Well, I'm not going to say you get, adults don't bother you, but you kind of get used to it, and they don't look real anyway. But the kids part is what bothered me, because they never had a chance to grow up and realize their potential,
exactly
what they could have been, and that's what got to me. And then my wife, she said, "Well, I don't know, you're gonna have to go talk to somebody, and your pride don't want you to." But I finally broke down, and did it, and it helped a lot. So.
Yeah,
because that's tough. Because even back then, I remember, you're not supposed to show your emotions as a young man or a man back then. Now you're encouraged, talk about it, get it off your chest, and still sometimes that stuff is a little hard to show any kind of vulnerability. But man, that took a lot to hear that from your wife.
It did,
and it shows your connection with her, because you listen to her, right?
Yes, absolutely. She's pretty wise. I mean, Plus, she goes, you don't want to turn out into an alcoholic or drug addict.
Right.
I mean, a lot of the guys, it wasn't so much in drugs, but drinking. A lot of the guys did have problems with alcohol because they were trying to dull the pain.
Yep.
Of what they've seen, what they've been through. And I thought, and I kind of did a little bit myself. So the day came and I said, I'm not going to have another drink of anything. And I just did stop.
Good.
And I had to, because it would have been too easy just I've been thinking, I'd be okay, but then I'd be by myself sometimes at night. And thinking about that stuff, and it messed my head up, and I'd go in and get me some Crown and Coke, just trying to dull it a little bit. But, I thought, I can't just always do this. I've got to somehow get to the root of how to handle this. And I finally did with some help from a Christian psychologist out at IWU. But,
Well, that's
awesome.
That's like, speaking of spouses, you guys in that line of work, you have to have a spouse that's pretty tough too.
No, you do. You really do. I mean, Mary Ann, she just, if it wasn't for her, I'd been gone a long time ago. I mean, just to have somebody to talk to and bounce stuff off and believes in you and supports you, and that means everything. I mean, if I didn't have that, I'd have been lost a long time ago.
Best friend?
I'll admit it. Best friend, absolutely.
Well, and
Great mother, great grandma. I mean, terrific. I mean, I'm just saying it because it's true. I got to give her credit. I mean,
well, and that's I'm not the only one that has said this before, but your wife never ages.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
We got to shout out Mary Ann.
She got some good genetics from her mother. Her mother's 91. She looks like she could be 70. I mean, Mary Jo Davis is her mother. But, that family had some good genetics. But, yeah. So, but Tim George told me I had a good radio face. So
I always hear that about. See, that's what people told us until I was like, "Well, it's too late because I put this on YouTube." Yeah, because I got a face for radio as well.
Tim told me that, and I'm looking at him like, "Well, you're right, Tim." I mean,
firefighting goes all the way back, Teddy, to ancient times. I mean, ancient Egypt. Ancient Rome, the Middle Ages, the Industrial Revolution in the United States. You're in a brotherhood fraternity that goes way back. And I see you wearing the hat. You have a huge sense of pride.
Oh, well, once you're a firefighter, you always are. And I still get this together. All my retired brothers, we have a breakfast once a month, and we was going out to Richards, and they closed, of course. But so now we're going out to the train station.
Okay.
And once a month, because I thought, I don't want, there's so many of the brothers dying. I thought, man, this might be the last breakfast I see you or get to talk to you. So I thought it was imperative to keep that going,
Well, then don't you do a family breakfast every month too?
Yeah, we do that too.
See, that's
Yeah. My sister put that together, but so we do that as well here in Gas City. But
all right, now touch on all the stuff you did for Vietnam veterans. The memorial and all that, everything you've been involved with there.
Well, since I, graduated after it was over, I thought, man, I always felt like I didn't do my part, because it was in peacetime. So I thought, somehow I got to give these guys a recognition. So I went to Brian Cowgill, who was my buddy, and on the fire department with me, my brother. So I said, what can we do, here? So we got this idea to get a monument and put it on the Grant County Courthouse lawn. So we started out, we were just going to get a monument, and we kind of had some of the Vietnam vets help us with the design of it and everything. But then we thought, it's going to cost a lot more money, but I actually want their names on it, engraved, laser etched on it. So we just started doing fundraisers. I mean, we did everything. I mean, all kinds of dinners and water ball tournaments, golf tournaments. Ryan Simpkins did those for us. I mean, so we put together a 10-person committee to help us. And so we got the original obelisk, the original monument, and then we found out we didn't have all the names that we needed. So then
from Grant County, right?
From Grant County. I'm sorry, I should have said that. But So then we thought, we're going to have to add wings on. So then we started all over again.
Oh, man.
So it took, I don't know, about 5 years, I'd say, to get the funding. And so then we got right at the end. I thought, I was about ready to start bawling, man.
I bet.
I thought, I just don't know what else I could do. I thought I just sent out everything to everybody. So anyway, Harvey Barnes from the Round Robins Bingo Club, his uncle was in Vietnam, and he said, Brian, would you like to come and do a presentation to our board? And I was about 5,000 short because, I left out a part, you guys. Well, when we finally got that bill, the original one, and then we had a 4-day Welcome Home Vietnam Veterans Festival, and we brought in the traveling wall that heals.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So that, that was thousands. And then we brought bands in, food vendors. It was a 4-day deal. You got to get porta potties. You got to pay a lot of money for all that. And then what I didn't know, when you bring that wall in, it's got to be manned by at least 4 veterans, 24 hours around the clock for the 4 days. And you have to have a certain amount of illumination. So my brother Greg's also an electrician, so he come in and hooked up all the lights for us. It was over by the armory, but it still wasn't enough lighting. So then Calvin and I went out to all the food places, and they all donated food, and we had to get it to them, around the clock, those 4 days. So anyway, we end up about 5,000 short at the end of what we needed to pay off our bills. So Brian and I went and gave our presentation, and Harvey called me. He goes, Brian, he said, we voted to do it.
Wow.
So we're giving you, excuse me, you guys.
No, you're fine.
You're fine.
So he said, we're going to give you the rest of that money. So that paid it off.
Wow.
So that, man, that was one of the happiest days of my life. Yes, we did it, Brian, talking to Cowgill. And then, so yeah.
And
that's awesome,
that
man.
Is. See, and this community gets behind deserving ideas or things that people come up with.
Yeah,
Gas City's great about it.
We spent that time with Backyard Builder putting up that memorial down at the
I
park.
appreciate that.
Yeah.
I do. I do. That's right. You did.
Those guys and us, we love doing that, not just to celebrate and say thank you, but getting together and doing that means something to the community.
It does.
You guys are like, it's a sense of pride, and it makes us feel good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really did appreciate that. I know Max did. Max was.
Yep.
Max was fun.
He's on the board of works with me. He's a Vietnam veteran.
Yeah.
And he's told me some stories. I mean, boy, it wasn't no fun over there. But I think he was kind of got involved with you guys on that.
Oh yeah, he orchestrated it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He hung out down there with us and got some banners up with us.
Good.
He is so much fun. He's something else. Shout out Max Levitt.
Yeah.
I mean,
I love working with him.
Yeah, back when I had hair, he used to cut my hair. And if I sat real still, he'd give me a sucker.
Oh boy. Yeah, he cut my hair forever too.
Yeah, what a great guy.
He is. He is a great guy. He can really be funny too.
Yes, he can.
He's hilarious, really, when you get to know him. But.
Yeah, I'm stuck on that thought where you said when you had the wall memorial down here that somebody had to be on guard 24/7.
Yes, they did.
I never heard of that. I'm sure many people haven't.
I didn't know.
That's like before. You look at the guard at the Tomb of the Untold Soldier.
Yeah,
man, that's just how. I mean, that and stoic.
There's a lot of pride there. I mean, oh my gosh! You talk about Vietnam veterans crying. They wouldn't, but a lot of them volunteered to be guards at night because they wanted to be down there when nobody's around because they knew they was going to be crying, and they didn't want anybody to see them.
Yep.
So that's why they volunteered to do it at night.
And it's something that impresses me about people that are in the military or used to be in it. Whether it's a parade or a ball game. That flag comes out, national anthem comes, how they stand at attention. It's just they might be walking with a box of popcorn and they just stop.
Oh yeah.
That's just
Dead
so
stop.
impressive to me. That's I don't know.
It is, and people don't realize all the sacrifices they made. Just
right.
Yeah.
I thought, how could you get mad at a Vietnam vet? I mean, I just don't understand it. I mean, even if you didn't agree with the war, you could be mad at the war, but support the warrior. I mean,
exactly.
I mean,
I love that.
People didn't get that. They didn't
Yep.
understand that. But.
Hey, something I've been thinking about, and I had it was in the back of my mind. Do you have a scanner at home, and how much when you hear something pop off, are you like, oh man, I want to be there?
Well, I've been retired since 2009, and I did for several years. But then Marianne said that scanner's got to go. She can only take it so long. So I just get on Facebook and check and follow Scanner Freaks.
Yeah.
As soon as I see something, if there's something around here, you got to go.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to go check it out and see if anything you can do. And I've ran across stuff. The training is just not from when you was on the job. I've ran down to help people just from the training I got that was in my civilian life.
Yep.
Aside from the job, So, I mean, you never know where. That's why, excuse me, go ahead and get that basic life support CPR training and everything. If you're a civilian, because I mean, you could be on a plane, you could be anywhere, and something happened. What if if nobody knows how to render care, and or you're there alone with that person? I had a friend that was out in a fishing boat with his father-in-law, and he died but he didn't know how to do render care, and then after that happened, he went and got the training. Said this is never going to happen again.
See,
And him and Mary Ann are all over the state of Indiana watching their kids play sports.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I'm sure you probably seen someone and had to stop and help.
Oh yeah, several times.
Yeah.
It's happened. I mean, just driving, just doing, through basketball, wrestling, baseball, all the sports. You guys know. But I tried to start the kids out in wrestling because everybody's like, man, you must have really showed your kids some good moves. I said, no, I never played basketball.
Yep.
I wrestled. And I wrestled, bodybuilding, all all that stuff. I never played the first game of basketball. I mean, they're like, wow. But I took them where I knew they could learn, the boys club, cow club. I took them to but I started them out actually in wrestling, and they did good, especially Jake. He almost won the state.
Yep.
But then Marianne said, Brian, they don't really they want to play basketball. She goes, you're doing what you want them to do.
Yeah.
Well, once you think, consider letting them do what they want to do. And so she was right. So
She was ahead of her time.
she was. She talked a lot of sense into me. I married the right gal.
Well, it takes a lot. It takes a big person to hear that, because there's some people that have been like, trust me, I know better than you, and I'm guilty of it. I'm guilty. But I've gotten better. Brian. In my maturity, in my old age.
We all get better the older we get.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
because
true.
talking CPR, I mean, like I do, you're a master trainer in that as well. But
Yeah.
what are your thoughts? I mean, I think the school system should be teaching that when these kids are in junior high.
Oh yeah,
Junior high and high school. I mean,
I agree.
like
I
you
went
said,
over
you
that
never know when.
with Brandon. I mean, so
And that's
being the vice principal, I agree, Ted. I agree 100%. Oh man, it pays off so many
That's
times.
interesting.
Yep.
Like, in health class.
yeah. I mean,
Well, let's see. That was Jerry and I taught the Gas City Police Department.
Yep.
Here when I was still on the department, and got them all certified and everything. But I'll tell you what, it's when you're out there doing all this stuff, you're not always going to save everybody.
Right,
I mean, because
right.
sometimes they're just not, they're not. It's not a survivable situation. And you really grieve the losses, especially children. But
Yep.
boy, it is pure joy. It's euphoric when you're able to save a life. I mean, oh man, you're on cloud nine. There's no better feeling.
I can only imagine.
There's really not.
That's what I mean.
Do they ever stay in touch with you, or are they like?
Oh yeah, I've had people follow up.
Wow.
Ernie Dalton. I mean, I shocked him. One time he's back. John Dalton, same way. And those guys always have been good friends. I mean, people.
Did you say Ernie Dalton?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a name from.
One shock and he was back.
Blast from the past.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
the Heimlich maneuver. I mean, is that part of CPR training, the Heimlich maneuver?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
It is. It's called basic life
Basic life,
support.
yep.
But yeah, it includes a lot of other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's not just CPR alone. Plus, you're doing the defibrillator, automatic
Yep.
external
Now,
defibrillator. So
which we didn't used to have.
didn't used to have.
Now I think all schools have it, correct? I mean,
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
they're everywhere.
And they're so
Basic-
easy to use.
Yeah.
I mean, why
Mhm.
not? I mean,
Yep.
and they've saved lives. They've saved a lot of
Yeah,
lives.
they have.
Because if you're just doing CPR alone, you're not going to have near the success survival
Mm-hmm.
rates you are if you can incorporate the automated defibrillators
Yep.
in with it. So yeah.
And that's speaking of Gas City, we've got a pretty good fire department here, don't we?
We absolutely do.
There's
Nick
some-
Baker, he's doing a great job as a
Mm-hmm.
chief. I mean, I've got a very high opinion of all the guys on. They do an excellent job, and we're all brothers.
Right,
To me,
yeah.
it don't matter. Everyone don't feel the same way I do, unfortunately. But
Mm-hmm.
I don't care if you're a career, if you're volunteer, whatever you are.
Yep.
We're all brothers. We
Yep.
all do the same job. I
Yep.
mean, so.
That's like my wife. Her dad was chief of the Fairmount Fire Department for a long time.
Okay.
And then she's got, I think, 4 nephews that's still on there.
Oh, great.
So
Great. Yeah,
So
I
it's-
used to be good friends with Doug Jump.
that's my wife's brother-in-law.
What?
Yep.
Are you serious?
Paul Scott's her dad.
Oh my gosh.
And
Small world,
Small
isn't it?
world.
Doug's a brother-in-law.
I never knew that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that, Tim.
Wow.
It says right here, the chances for survival within the first 3 minutes of collapse with a defibrillator rise 70%.
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
And it just gets higher as
do.
the quicker you get to them.
They do.
That's astonishing, and they're all over the school, man.
Yeah, and that's
And we're allowed to give up to 6 successive shocks. We'll do like 3 shocks in CPR and then 3 more. But anyway, usually if you don't get them within the first couple, it's not successful. But we'll go ahead and take it to
Right.
the full, the nth degree to try to save them. And some people continued on with CPR way past when they thought they should. And that person revived. They
Yep.
were just. I mean, you just never know. There's no rhyme or reason to some of it. But.
and the way technology's taken off in the last 20,
It
30
has,
years. It's
yeah.
just, I mean, I do have to ask Brian this question though. I mean, because I know he enjoys Wednesday evenings. It's the Chicago night, right?
Oh yeah.
You're like my wife.
Oh man, yeah. That's a. I mean, I hate it now because we got to wait till the new
That's the
season.
way she is.
And then they only have Paul Thompson actually was an extra on Chicago Fire. He
Really?
he
Do
went.
you
up.
ever watch it and say, "No, that's not correct"?
I'll tell you what. Some
They're
of the other
techni-
shows are not as good as I would like them to be. I'm not going to say because certain people might like some of the other fire,
Yeah.
but Chicago Fire is on it. I mean,
Oh, okay.
of course, the romance part and all that.
Right,
That's added in, but
You got to sprinkle it in.
yeah, you got to get the viewers.
You got to
but,
get both man and woman interested.
they did actually have some pretty good female firefighters on that show.
They do, but the Chicago firefighters are the technical advisors on that show, so
Yeah.
they get it right. I mean, when I'm watching that, but some of the other shows don't, and I won't say who they are, and I don't even watch the other ones. I mean, I started out, I thought, oh, come on, that's
Right.
not how you do that. I mean, but Chicago Fire does it right.
Yeah, and
They
that's-
do.
Well, let's jump in a little bit of trivia right here. Go back in the late 70s, early 80s.
I know what you're going to say.
What
Emergency.
what was that? Yeah, it was emergency. It was
Yeah.
engine 51, right?
Yeah,
Okay. Yep.
yeah, emergency.
That was.
It's still on.
I watched it on YouTube.
It's still on TV.
Yeah. Okay.
On the
Yeah.
old channels, yep.
Yeah,
that's-
yeah, they still show it in reruns. Yeah, you can still see it. You ever watch Me TV? It's
I haven't.
capital M, little E, and then
I've
capital TV.
I've seen it, but I've never watched it.
They've got all that on.
Really?
Yeah, I had Logan Horn call me, my cousin. One time. He said, "Hey, Brian, they got the Mod Squad. They got the." He started telling me about some of the older shows.
Yeah.
He goes, "Check out this Me TV." I didn't even for sure know what it was.
Yep.
And I thought, wow, they got all the
That's-
time tunnel, all this old stuff.
I can see him getting hyped up over that. I can see it.
Ooh, Logan?
Logan, yeah.
Yeah.
Logan's pretty
voice
good.
of an angel.
Oh my goodness.
Voice of an angel.
I don't know if people realize how well he can sing. But,
He is talented.
but
He is
I know
talented.
You know
you
what?
do because you know
Yeah.
you guys know him.
Yeah, I always, so I got a chance to work with him with Backyard Builder, and I always said,
that's right. Yeah,
give him a
that's right.
15 foot radius, because he'll be singing, he isn't looking out for you, but he'll turn with a big 4x4 on his arm, you
no.
better duck.
Is that right? Oh,
He'll be singing in his own world.
I'm
Hey,
surprised.
Teddy,
Yes, sir.
it'll be on today on YouTube and tomorrow on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. We had Brian Swanner on.
Yep. Great guy.
Retired fireman. And very much involved with the community.
He's a community champion.
Yep, exactly. And a huge Mississinewa fan.
Oh, definitely.
Graduate.
Yep. Veteran, Army veteran.
Yes. Father.
Yep.
I graduated with one of his kids and friends with the others.
Yep.
So, yeah, man, we got to talking about one of his relatives, and the power went out on us, man.
Mm-hmm.
It went dark in there.
It did.
I didn't realize how dark it is in that garage till all the lights went
I
out.
know, right?
Once we got that going, we had some audio difficulties that we didn't realize we had until post. But we've got the core, the main body
Right.
of the conversation.
Yep.
And it's good.
Yep.
It's good. What a great conversation. What a great time. Shout out to Brian Swanner for taking the time to come on and hang out with us.
Yep. And then, like I said, we apologize for the technical audio glitch we had.
Yeah.
Conrad had to do a little bit more editing than normal, but
Yeah.
so
I did manage to get some of the audio kind of back, but there's a high pitched electrical. It's almost like my dog couldn't stand it.
so you're saying it was kind of like when we were younger and we started hitting puberty.
I don't know it. Yeah. What?
Your voice is changing, and you're
Oh yeah. Well, it was
a little squeak here and there.
there was a lot of squeaking, but we want to thank him for coming on.
Yeah. And thanks Brian for all you do
Oh yeah.
for this community,
Oh,
the
yeah.
school system.
Fun talk, good laughs. Appreciate the hell out of him.
Yep. Great guy.
Yep. So we got next week Alt House Auto Body.
Yep. One of our
That's gonna be-
sponsors.
yeah, one of our great sponsors. This one's going to be a good one.
Yep.
Scott Watson is a good person,
Yep.
a good businessman,
Yep.
and a little bit of a character. I like him,
Yeah, I do too.
and he likes to crush beers.
And
He's a Colts fan.
he likes to crush beers at 9:30 in the morning at the tailgate.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he can tailgate all day long, bro. He's probably there's a few people that I would be like, I can't hang with him.
Uh-huh.
He might be one of them.
Boy, there's not many that you can't hang with.
Well, I think there's more than can be believed, but I'll give it my best shot.
I know you will.
I'll give it the old college try. All right, we'll see everybody next week.
Thanks, everybody.